Welcome to Creativism, the show for creatives, filmmakers, Christians, and productivity nerds. I'm your host, Josh the Creative. So in this episode, we're going to talk about battling discouragement. So far in this series, we've understood what a failure is and what it's not. We've redefined that for us. We've tackled how we've tackled what failure feels like, and how to combat that. And now we're going to look at another aspect of feeling like a failure, and that's discouragement specifically. In the last episode, I mentioned that evangelism book, Evangelism for the Rest of Us, and there was a section where the author talked about what would Jesus do in these different areas, and also what would Satan do in these different areas. And within that section, he listed four ways that Satan attacks us. One of those things, as far as this series, I think is the most important one to touch on, is discouragement. You know, the enemy likes to discourage us, feed into this inner monologue. I actually heard Devon Franklin on an interview, and he talked about the inner monologue that says that we can't succeed. We allow the enemy to pour into that voice, and have his own voice in our head that says that we're not good enough, that we don't have what it takes to do what we're supposed to be doing. That goal that's in front of us, there's no way that we can achieve that. That goal is way too big for us. There's no way that we can get there. There's a huge gap from here to there. There's no way that I could ever do what the Lord is calling me to do. And I'm sure that you can think of a handful of things that you've dealt with that, in retrospect, have been words of discouragement. And those words carry meaning. Like those thoughts carry power. That's why the enemy feeds us those thoughts. Because if he tackles our mind and we believe it in our mind, that's going to reflect in our actions, in our actual words. It's going to reflect in every other aspect of our lives, giving into discouragement. And that's the whole point. It's intended to deter us from doing what we're called to do. Now that we see what discouragement is, how it plays in our lives, now it's time to understand how to battle it, how to fight it. So, kind of like how we battle failure, understand and remember what we're called to do. This is something I have to tell my wife sometimes. She's going through schooling to be a teacher. She's preparing for an internship, and like as I'm recording this episode right now, she's taking her last praxis test to get into interning. And through every step of the way, the enemy has attacked her over and over again with moments of failure, like physically failing to succeed in either taking a test or turning in something properly. The enemy has fed her discouragement, just moments of feeling like she can't succeed. And, I'm not like the biggest words of encouragement kind of person, relationally. Like I can say some things practically, but it's still taking me some time to give proper words of encouragement to those around me. But one thing I told her is the Lord already called her to be a teacher. Like she was already called to do this, which means she's already called to succeed, which means don't worry about these things here or there. Don't worry about these individual moments of failure, because at the end of the tunnel, at that light at the end of the tunnel, he's already called her to that. It does not matter how she gets there. She's going to get there. And that's what we have to realize to battle discouragement. I'm already called to do this thing, so none of this failure matters, because at the end of the tunnel, at that moment. I mentioned before the parable of the quantum leap. Instead of a molecule suddenly jumping from this level to this higher level of energy, there's a eventuality in that. There's a finalization in that. So regardless of these moments, these small moments, eventually I'm going to rise up into that success, because that eventuality is where the Lord called me to be. So another way to battle discouragement is to understand that it's possible to get overwhelmed, and just don't just stop being overwhelmed. No, but as far as being overwhelmed, we're going to talk about that in the next episode, taking baby steps. Like, focus on the big picture, but you still have steps to take to get you there. You still have actions and choices to make to get you there. So just start small to work your way up. And one thing I would say on a level of like achieving a goal is to, and I'll probably talk more about this in a different episode, but create a goal tree. I don't know if I said that right. Goal, GOAL tree. That's kind of reverse engineering a goal. So that light at the end of the tunnel, look at that being the top of it and work your way backwards. Okay, so that's where I would be maybe about 5 years. Okay, what steps do I have to take to get there within the next year or two? Okay, what do I have to do in the next few months? What do I have to do the next week? What things can I do right now to get me going? So that's a way of tackling a project, tackling a goal, and not getting overwhelmed, not being discouraged with the massiveness of a project or goal. So the next episode is where this series flips, and we then transition into sort of setting a new almost standard for ourselves. We have defined failure and discouragement, and the feeling of failure. We've broken it down. We've discovered ways to shut it down, to not let those things affect us or dictate how we move forward. So, and this is how we have to operate. We have to first start with the negative, like understand what that negative aspect is and tear it down so that we can make room for the positive to enter. We can't really focus on succeeding if we don't know how we're failing. So next week, we're going to segue into redefining our story. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please share this with your friends and be on the lookout for the next episode. They come out every Wednesday morning. You can follow me on Instagram at _Josh the Creative, and you can find my music on SoundCloud under Lewis Effect. I'll catch y'all next week. Deuces.